and welcome to episode 1 of the Harry and Daley Show. My name is Harry and I'm accompanied by my co-host for this series, Mr. Daley Perales. Widely known and respected for his involvement in the world of boxing, a coach to the likes of Deji. He was recently a commentator for Floyd Mayweather's most recent exhibition. A Chelsea fan in his off time. Daley, we've had this show in the pipeline for a couple of months now, but we've been speaking more or less after most games for the last sort of year now, more or less. I think you messaged me first just to be like, mate, what is going on? And it's just sort of gone on from there.
Yeah, I liked your stuff, man. I liked your stuff. So I had to jump on and just try and communicate with you. It's good to bounce off someone that's a diehard Chelsea fan like myself.
Absolutely. So, I mean, for this, at least for episode 1, we'll probably just start off. The first episode could have gone so many different ways, right? Because win or lose yesterday, we were going to, or against Dortmund, this goes out tomorrow, but win or lose against Dortmund, we were going to go ahead with this. And it could have been so happy like we are, probably. I can assume you're over the moon. More or less confused more than anything, that like, where obviously we're happy, but where has this come from? It just seems like the main change obviously is the formation change from playing 4-3-3 to now we're playing 5 at the back, or 3-5-2, 3-4-3, and it's what worked with Tuchel and it just seems to work with these players, and this formation change has pretty much saved Potter's job, don't you think?
Yeah, and especially when you got Chilwell and Reece James, I think it limits them if you're trying to put them into a straight back four. With a back three, they have license to get forward. We've got the three covering them, and then you've got the 2 holding midfielders. So I think that formation suits us the best. And you got to remember, we ain't even got our perfect starting 11 yet, I believe, until we reach the next transfer window and have a pre-season.
Yeah. I mean, the injury issues, they've sorted themselves out. We're still waiting on Kante. Mendy's out, but I'll be honest, I don't think we're going to see him play for Chelsea ever again, if I'm completely...
And to be fair, Kepa has done well since he's taken over.
Yeah, mate, honestly, the saves he was pulling off yesterday was just... Yeah. In big games, I'm sure there's been big moments, big games where... I mean, the Liverpool game a couple of years ago during COVID, where literally any long shot went in. I feel like more or less he's rectified those long shots. Like that free kick save from Royce's early free kick yesterday was... I thought that was going in. I'd already given up at that point.
And there was an even better save, in my personal opinion, just to the right-hand side, closer, and he had to get down to the floor really quickly. That save was important, that one.
Obviously, ending their 10-game win streak, we are now back-to-back wins, back-to-back clean sheets for the first time since October of last year. It seems like it's all come together right when it matters most for Potter, which I feel, especially after the Leeds game, there were a few people that were more annoyed than anything. Like we spoke briefly at the beginning of this, that like it's more frustration of like, where has this been? Why is it only now when it matters most picking up for Potter? And obviously, it's like it could easily be like 2 fluke games, or it could be the players are just finding form. It doesn't make sense to me. Like the formation cannot make this much of a change to this team. Like the mentality yesterday, everyone was going for it. You had Cucurella playing well, which Jesus Christ, I've had my things to say about the geezer, but he's got on my tits so much this season, and he played so well. He's a bit frantic still, even against Dortmund, but I think everyone was, because we were so like high energy, but he was man of the match, rightly so as well.
Yeah, I liked his energy, his passion. He was getting stuck in. He was reading the game well. You know, winning tackles, winning headers, good passing. Yeah, so Cucurella, he surprised me yesterday.
Havertz as well. Havertz showed up, and
He-
again, do you not think?
Here's the thing. Yeah, he did, but here's the thing with Havertz. What do you think is Graham Potter going to do with him in the summer when we've got people like in Cuckoo coming, and obviously then you got Mudryk, you got Sterling, you got Madueke, you got João Felix. If we make that into a permanent, and then obviously the key area, what we need is a striker. So where do you see Havertz? Even though you know he's starting to play good again, he always seems to score us important goals as well.
Yeah, yeah.
At the right time. So yeah, I was thinking about that yesterday. Where will he fit in with Graham Potter
Well,
once we get a striker?
Well, yeah. Well, the thing is, we've been playing him or forcing him to play a striker. I've come to that thing where I'm not almost not blaming him at this point, because I mean Potter's just playing him there because he wants to. Like Havertz isn't going to be like, no, don't play me. Like he's going to be like, oh, I'll take all the game time I can get.
Yeah.
The thing is that he's played as our striker now for so long, and he still hasn't quite found his feet as an out-and-out striker, because, again, he isn't an out-and-out striker.
Yeah, he isn't, yeah.
But then next season, when we get a striker and then move him back to his sort of central midfield or like wide player from time to time, I feel like he's not going to strive there, because he's been so used to playing now as a striker. He's going to struggle coming back into another role because he's been focusing on. Do you know what I mean? Like we've tried so hard to make it work here to then be like, well, you're not our striker, so go back to a position you haven't played in for nearly a year. It just seems mental.
And is he going to get in front of Sterling? People like Mudryk when he starts to play and find some form. The number 10 role that's going to be taken by Nkuku, I guess, you know. So it's going to be, I'm not sure. It's going to be interesting when it gets to the summer what Potter's going to do. In my personal opinion, the jury's still out. I want Potter to do well. It's not that I don't want Potter to do well. Yeah. And I want him to succeed, you know, and I think every real Chelsea fan, you know, no matter what manager it is, they want to see them do well for the club, because obviously we want to win. Yeah. But the jury's still out on him, because if we just go to Leicester now and we go back to,
it's going to happen, isn't it? It's going to happen.
You know, so
there's no way we're winning that. I don't think.
But my point is this: they were talking before the game yesterday, and they were saying normally you've got a manager that has about 18, 19 players to choose from, or they're on the training pitch with. And he was saying Potter has got something like 27 players on the training pitch. And then every Friday he has to have a conversation with about 12 players to say you're not in the squad.
31 players. 31
players. Yeah, exactly. So he has to talk to about 12 players to say, sorry, you can't play this weekend. You know, that must be a nightmare for any manager, you know?
Yeah, and then obviously on top of that, he's got the likes of Ziyech, who...
There's players that don't want to play for us.
Well, yeah, this is my point, was that, like, obviously Ziyech, unfairly to him, obviously, he was so close to joining PSG, and obviously our focus was on Enzo Fernandez and getting that over the line, and it didn't pan out. I still think, like, that sort of... People have said, like, obviously he must care, because you see him against Tottenham the other day, and he was, you know, shrugging his shoulders when he'd like have crosses going. Made a few really good crosses, to be fair. And there is a sign that he does seem to still care, but he's never been one to really show too much emotion in the first place.
He doesn't.
And to me, that's always done my head in, because, and it's like Havertz as well. They're so nonchalant. They're so, like, I don't know, like that. It's just I am playing how I want to play, rather than, I don't know, they just don't show intensity or like they care. They may well care, but To me, it's always so
even
frustrating watching them, because even when Ziyech he scores like a worldie, and it's sort of like he just
doesn't
walks
do
away.
anything.
It's like, give me something, Jesus.
Yeah, even I know he's Chelsea through and through, but even Mason Mount is looking not interested anymore. I know he's got his contract issues, but he's looking like he don't really, like his head's being turned somewhere else for the summer, So
I was going to go on that, to be fair. Declined offers, apparently close to what Reece James has been given. Doesn't want to sign a long-term deal of around 7 or 8 years like everyone else has been given. Certain fans, of course, around the Chelsea fan base claiming he's proper Chelsea, he's the future captain, but then at the same time won't tie himself down and be loyal to the club that's given him everything so far. What do you make of that? And also, what do you think if he was to go to Liverpool? Do you think that would be a betrayal from him?
I think I wouldn't go far as betrayal. I mean, if he went to another London team like Arsenal or Tottenham, then that'd be, we'll never forgive him for that. Liverpool, I don't know. For me, it's all about can he get enough playing time in that starting 11 with this new team that we're creating. Because with this team that we're creating now, where does Mason Mount fit in? That's it. I go back to when we've already got Nkunku coming in the summer. We've got Mudryk, we've got Sterling, we've got Madueke, João Felix. I'm praying we turn that into a permanent, and then we've got the new striker, which we badly need. It's like, where are you going to play him? You can't play him in the deeper role because you got Enzo, you got Kante, so you got Kovacic. We're probably going to get another centre midfielder because players will be moving out in that position.
Kovacic most likely going to be going.
Yeah. So it's like, where does he play? Where does he play? It's going to be hard for him, in my personal opinion. And I think that will be part of the reason why he doesn't sign a contract, because he's looking at this team now thinking, where do I fit in? Yeah.
It almost sounds like he's had a bad 7 months or so, obviously on the back of two Player of the Year seasons, to then go from that to now everyone, it's kind of divided. I don't think it is quite as divided as 50-50, but there's certainly, I've slated him so many times this season because there has to be a level of consistency. And I know you could say easily that none of the players have been consistent, bar maybe Thiago Silva. But if he is to be the future captain, if he is, the star boy that we've made him out to be, I personally believe Reece James is exactly what Chelsea have made him or tried to make Mason Mount be. To me, is Reece James is that guy for me. Reece James is the guy. He's absolutely the guy.
I want Mason.
He loves the club. I'm not saying Mason Mount doesn't love Chelsea, but I can absolutely guarantee Reece James loves the club more than Mason Mount.
Yeah, I mean, I want Mace to stay, but I just don't see where he's going to fit in the team. We're obviously going to buy a couple. I say probably 2 or 3 more players in the summer.
Was it Rafael Leao from Milan's our top target at the moment, which is mental considering we've got so many wingers at the moment. We don't need another attacking player other than
we don't need an attacking player. We just need the number 9. We haven't had that since Drogba and Diego Costa. We need that type of number 9. I fancy the Napoli striker, obviously. I think he will suit us. And then we'll probably get another centre midfield player. And then probably another centre back. We keep getting linked with that Leipzig defender, Garvadal. all the time, which he's a top player, only 20 years of age or 21 years of age as well.
Yeah, good World Cup from him.
And you talked about Thiago Silva earlier about, you know, you said something about Thiago Silva, and it just made me think about what other player in the world that comes to the Premier League at that age, and in that short space of time, he's become a Chelsea legend, you know?
Yeah. And he will absolutely go down as, I think he already is one, to be fair.
Yeah.
Just like the love he has, even his missus, like she makes it so much more in, like the love that we have for even their whole family as a whole. Yeah. They have taken Chelsea properly to heart, and they are proper Chelsea. They are absolutely proper Chelsea.
Yeah. If I was Graham Potter and he's still around for the long term because he's got a long contract, and then it comes to the end of Thiago Silva's playing career while he's there, I would 100% put him in that backroom staff because I think Thiago Silva is going to be a top top in the future. I can see him as a manager. Definitely, he's going to be a manager.
Yeah. On the topic of sort of like newer players as well.
Yeah.
You've recently as well mentioned Mudryk.
Yeah.
The situation regarding him, and I laid the possibility that he's being rested, maybe because of the conflicts and everything going on in Ukraine. If that isn't the issue, and there's no reports suggesting that would even possibly be the case, what do you think he doesn't fit into Potter's plans? Do you think he just wasn't a Potter purchase, like Potter didn't want him in the first place, or do you think that he's just resting him in general just to kind of ease him in? Because the fact is, and I was on another podcast around the time that we bought him with a Ukrainian journalist who specializes in Ukrainian footballers, and he said like there is categorically he is not a 100 million pound player. It's just that's what it costs to get it over the line. And there's absolutely nothing to suggest that he is worth that or will ever be worth 100 million ever again. But the way that the deal was working, the add-ons, all that sort of stuff, it just made it so. Honestly, apart from his appearance against Liverpool, and all that, albeit that was like 20 minutes, he looked brilliant there, and everyone was like, "It's the next Hazard," he's going to do this, do that. Like you were saying, I think the lack of game time for him is only going to hinder him rather than provide him with confidence. Because, like I say, not only has he got the pressure of coming to a new country, he's got all of the baggage that he's got going on at home as well. But also, not that it should, but this 100 million pound price tag on his head is causing, you would imagine, anyone to maybe think, oh God, I've really got to perform. But he's not getting the game time at the same time, so he can't really prove himself. Yeah,
he's a player with that. When he first came on the scene, and I started studying him like I do with every player that we're linked with, and then I studied him even more when out of the blue we just, took him on a private jet. I personally think that there's not many players that get my attention. I'm very a player has to really impress me for me to get their attention, and the way he plays reminds me of a mixture of when Ronaldo first came to the Premier League, Eden Hazard, Arjen Robben. He reminds me of a mixture of all these players, and I still think he's the future for Chelsea. And I don't know what it is. Maybe Graham Potter, he's so under pressure to get results. He's going with what, is suited to the Premier League at the moment, which is obviously Sterling. Sterling's playing in where Mudryk likes to play.
And even then,
Yeah.
I mean, Sterling hasn't been. But anyway, yeah, carry on.
And yeah, so he's in Sterling's place. I know Sterling hasn't set the league alight this season, but he's a proven Premier League player, so maybe that's why Graham Potter is trusting him to get us through this dark patch, and he's going with what the Premier League is used to, you know, and what the player is used to, which is the Premier League. Mudryk hasn't played in this country. He's probably still adapting. And me personally, I think when he has played, because I've got such a good eye for football, there's so many passes that could have been made to him as well, where he's made runs and nobody's finding him. And when you've got someone like him, what's blessed with the speed that he has and the runs that the intelligent runs that he makes, maybe he's a bit too clever for our team at the moment, you know. So
it was most notably it was Cucurella, wasn't it? Who just it was just it seemed, and then the clip came out where it was being I think mistranslated, where Mudryk was suggesting that Cucurella needs to be sold, or that we need a new left back or whatever because he won't pass to him. But
I don't know what
frustrating. That game,
but I don't know why he isn't coming on as a sub though to get some minutes.
Yeah. I mean, you know, like I said, I've given it the benefit of the doubt in that sense with the whole thing in Ukraine.
But even last night, mate, he, I know he's under pressure and he so desperately wants to win to keep the pressure off him. But he brought on Ruben Loftus-Cheek, Conor Gallagher, Zakaria. I mean, how many defensive players do you need? You know what I mean? I think Mudryk's a good player to at least come off the bench and catch a team off the counter when they're coming at us for the last 10 minutes, you know?
Yeah. Yeah.
But, you know, because we won, the substitutions made sense.
Yeah. So I was gonna go into. I'll lead on from what you were just saying about the substitutions. Reasoning behind the substitutions, like I just don't. He always seems to. I mean, more so in obviously the Leeds game, we were trying to sit on the 1-0, and it seemed desperate, which you can kind of understand because his job's on the line. He needs to make sure that win happens. And then the substitution. I've been sort of cussing him out for his substitutions the whole season. I was even saying about Tuchel was always a little bit dodgy towards the end of his tenure as well. But Potter's substitutions, they absolutely stink. I don't know what it is, but they're always so defensive.
Yeah.
I know that we had to sort of. It's not even like riding it out, because I think some of the substitutions, I'm trying to get it up now, but some of the substitutions, they came quite early, even by his standards. And the thing is, there was only one goal in it. That's all it was.
Yeah.
So you've taken, who is it? You've taken Sterling off for Loftus-Cheek. You've taken Fernandes off for Zakaria. You've taken Kovacic off, okay, for Pulisic, but even then, he hasn't been playing at all.
Yeah, that was the baffling one. But that's the baffling one. When Pulisic just came back.
Yeah.
Why is he coming on instead of Mudryk?
Yeah, I know.
You know,
and what going back to Mudryk as well. I am double thinking, like thinking over my thing of like the whole Ukraine thing, because if that was the issue, he wouldn't be even in the squad, was it? Would he? Do you not think?
No.
He wouldn't be included. So it can't be that. It can't be sort of like any sort of mental health or anything to do with, like, you know, if he's depressed or whatever.
Well, there was a clip of him there was a clip of him on the bench, and he didn't look happy when he kept seeing all the subs come on. Yeah. And not one was him. You know, he didn't look happy. He looked happy at the end, obviously, when he come on the pitch and we were celebrating.
But yeah, what was it? Yeah, again, so João Felix off in the 67th minute.
Yeah, that was a weird one to take him off, and he was playing good as well.
But yeah, and he looked fuming as well. He looked absolutely livid. Yeah. And that's for Conor Gallagher. Okay, like the thing is with him, he's not a defensive midfielder by any means, but he's known obviously like road runner, everything, like he just runs around constantly. Like, so in terms of intensity, I would argue Gallagher would probably bring more intensity than João Felix at that point in the game. And he's got a point to prove as it is. But Loftus-Cheek for Sterling, Zakaria for Fernandes, and Pulisic for Kovacic. You just think like you taken Felix, Sterling, Fernandes, and Kovacic off with, you know, some of those one were in the last 10 minutes, but the Felix one in the 67th, it by what the sound of it was there was audible sort of like groans in the stadium. It was just like, oh no, we're going to sit on this 2-0 now. There is still, what, 23 minutes to go in the game. They need one goal. And I know it's worked out now, but like, come on.
It's worked out now. But
risky business doing that sort of thing.
At the time, I was saying if we end up losing, you know, every Chelsea fan is going to go mad with those substitutions. Yeah.
But again, like I say, it's not the first time he's made some questionable substitutions. What does in your eyes, because obviously now it's looking all fine and dandy and all that sort of stuff, because he's got I gave the ultimatum on my channel with the 3 games. Don't get battered by Tottenham.
Yeah.
If we do lose, try and minimise it. And I, by all accounts, I thought we got battered in that game. And the 2-0 was, I don't know, the scoreline didn't really necessarily come into it in terms of the battering, but regardless, we don't lose to Tottenham. We just don't lose to Tottenham.
Yeah.
Win against Leeds by all means necessary. Like, and to be fair, he did that by the substitutions, parking the bus, all that sort of stuff. And they were never going to score in the first place. And then get through, just somehow find the way to get through in the Champions League. And he's done 2 of the 3 things for me. So for now, I was very much Potter out. I was at my wit's end with him, and I thought it's done. It's absolutely done. But somehow, some way, he's managed to claw it back, and fair play to him. Yeah.
But do you know actually something?
What do you think? Sorry, go on.
Yeah, no, go on, ask, because it's probably going to go into that anyway.
Yeah, well, I was going to say, what does he now need to do to secure a full second season in the at Stamford Bridge?
I just think that needs to continue. What happened yesterday needs to continue. That passion and that determination, even from himself, he looked different. He had more passion yesterday. The players looked like they were on it. That's what needs to happen for the rest of the season. I think the owners, the reason obviously they want to give him until the end of the season is so he can have a pre-season, so they can trim the squad, so they can get him in a few players that are needed, like obviously the main one, which is the striker, and let him work his magic in pre-season and give him the chance to start strong next season. He come in to replace, like, in my eyes, a legend of a manager in Thomas Tuchel, because of what he done for us. So that's hard in itself, replacing someone that the fans didn't want leaving. And then the new owners, they changed all the, you know, they turned everything upside down with Chelsea. They got rid of everyone up top. And then you got obviously the 11 or whatever it was, first team injuries. And then when they come back, they're still not up to speed. Look how long it's taken Reece James and Chilwell to get up to speed. You know, they're seeming more like themselves again now. So when you have all that, it's going to be hard for any manager. So the jury's still out on him for me. You know, I'm not sure.
100%.
I don't know. He's just got to do a lot of he's got to convince me a lot more for me to be, yes, Potter's here for the long term. But I also still, when it's all said and done, when I take my frustrations and my anger away, and I look at all the small details, I think he deserves to have the right opportunity under the right circumstances. And what made me more believe that, all right, I should calm myself down a bit, let's get this season out of the way, is after the game, every single player was hugging Graham Potter.
Yeah, yeah.
And they look happy with him,
Yeah.
you know? And obviously we haven't seen that side because we've been on a disastrous run of form, losing a lot of games. But every player seems to love him.
Yeah.
Even Kai Havertz and
Kai Havertz, did you see what he said about him?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
João Felix as well.
The thing is, I don't know about Havertz's point, because obviously he's going to love him, getting all this game time. So I don't know if there's a bit of bias there. Obviously he's going to be like, I love him because he's playing every single game. But there's a picture of them now that they look like father and son embracing, like they're both smiling, they're both happy. It is hard to imagine what he's like in, behind closed doors. And as someone like yourself, where you're in an environment in boxing where you've got to, when you're backstage, you've got to G someone up, you've got to hype them up. Mentality wise, I just can't imagine Potter being the kind of person to give, absolute bollockings to people, and I can't imagine him being intimidating. And I know it's not necessarily about intimidating, it's also about respect from the players to the manager to listen to what he's saying. But these players they've come across over the last, this season, are so entitled, so very, very much showing their age. Like, most of them are younger than me, for Christ's sake.
Yeah.
And I do feel like he has a more, he's like a dad, isn't he? He's like a proper dad.
I think the players love him because he doesn't chuck them under the bus. Every single loss we've had, he blames himself.
Yeah. And
if you're a player and you're looking at that, like you said, he's more like a father figure. You're looking like, look at our dad. He's got our back. He's protecting us.
Yeah, rather than a boss, he's a dad, and he's like,
you know what? I think it's the assistant, the Sunday League looking assistant. I reckon it's him that he's the one that G's him up.
Yeah, I was gonna, because it can't be him, and it's okay if it's not, because by all accounts, when Terry was captain in Chelsea, there's loads of documented things of like him being the one doing the team talk, doing the talk, and getting everyone in a circle, and you could see whoever the manager was sort of just standing by. They've said what they've had to say, and then it's up to the skipper to relay. I mean, speaking of which, obviously we mentioned, I think Reece James should be future skipper, but
I think he will. Yeah.
You hear around as well that he is quite a quiet bloke. He's not that not the unsociable, but he's not like the loud sort of extrovert. He's more of an introverted kind of person in his day-to-day life. Obviously, you see him when it's game time, and he's absolutely like tunnel vision, straight down.
Tunnel vision, yeah. He gets stuck in.
Absolute,
he likes a little scrap.
He does. So, although there's it's been reported over the last year or so that he's quiet in his personal life, I don't think that will reflect, which is why I do think that James is going to be the next captain. But even then, when it's assistant captain or vice captain, it's Kovacic, isn't it?
Yeah.
And then after that, it's Kepa.
Yeah, there's no one.
Thiago Silva actually as well is in the loop, but James isn't even near the line.
There's no one that leads the team. Those names that you just said, like Kovacic ain't that type of person on the pitch. No. You know what I mean? Kepa, he's not really. He's he commands his. For a keeper, he does what a normal keeper's meant to do. But to captain a team, obviously Thiago Silva is the
he can't
one
speak
they need.
English though either, to be fair. So the language barrier is there.
Yeah, but the way he the way he tells everyone what to do, though.
Yeah,
You know,
yeah.
because football, I know he might not be fluent in English, but you know, I forgot the saying, but there's a, you know, football, there is no language, you
Yeah,
know.
yeah. Yeah. Well, no, that's what I meant. Like he's not even fluent in English, and yet
Yeah,
they still know what he's saying. Like go,
yeah.
you know, be there, be there. Everyone has a position. Like he commands it. He absolutely commands it. And
But
again,
you never
I
know.
do see those. What do you mean?
You never know. Imagine if we get Jude Bellingham. I'm just saying.
Yeah.
He could be in contention to be a captain.
Yeah. What did you make of his tackle on James towards the end of the game? Or did you not see it? Is the absolute like he
Yes.
left it in on him? I was going
You
mental.
know, that could have
Absolutely
broken
mental.
his leg. You know.
Yeah, for sure. I thought he had. I thought, or
Yeah.
not his leg. I don't think he'd broken his leg, but I thought he'd really hurt him. And
Yeah.
you know, James. I'd say his only flaw, obviously, is that he's made of glass these days. Like he is. He's just. He's just. If there's one thing that you wish a player like him wasn't, it's injury prone.
Yeah.
And I fear that he is. I really do. Because that will be so detrimental to his career. Like in any sport, obviously. Like it's you don't want those kind of things, especially with a talent as big as him.
Yeah. Who do you think in the summer, if you was in charge, you're the manager, you're the boss, who don't you mind letting go and getting some money for them?
Yeah. Well, again, ties in exactly to one of my last questions, was that it was reported 2 days ago. Chelsea are planning a clear out. This is the tweet. Chelsea are planning a clear out in the summer window. There's doubts over long-term futures of Mason Mount, Mateo Kovacic, Mendy, Ziyech, Chalobah, Christian Pulisic, Kai Havertz, Loftus-Cheek, Gallagher, and Zakaria. That's most of the team at this point, like listing those names. And again, Mount, if he goes, I think if it is because of money, and he doesn't want to tie himself down, then just leave. I don't want you in the club. If he was loyal, that like everyone's trying to force us on that he's proper Chelsea, all that sort of stuff, then he would stay regardless. And he's not. There is no way he's getting offered, you know, peanuts. He's not getting offered like scraps here and there.
Yeah, exactly.
There's reports he's been offered. I mean, James is on 250, I think. So you've got to think, if he's getting offered close to that, it's got to be 190 to 210, maybe around that sort of thing. And if it really is not down to money, but down to, you know, I don't want to stay at Chelsea for 8 years, then go, because he has got the look and the personality of someone you want to be at Chelsea long term. But if he doesn't want to be here, then you need that loyalty, you need that dedication, and it's not really looking like he has it in him. Kovacic, I think he deserves to leave.
Would you personally want him to see him leave?
No, not at all.
He's in his prime. He's in his prime still as well.
Oh, mate, is he 28?
Yeah, 28 exactly.
He's 28 years old.
I think it'd be a big mistake.
I thought he was like 30, 31 before I knew like he was 28. I found that out a couple of months ago.
Because you got to be, because Chelsea have to be careful as well that yes, we need to trim our squad, but you don't want to trim the squad by getting rid of the wrong players. That, you know, we need 4 good central midfielders. You know, imagine someone gets injured or something. They're all going to play games. You know, even if Graham Potter's got his favourable starting 2 in the midfield, they're not going to play every single game, every single competition. So Chelsea have to be very careful, like what players they let go. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like Kovacic, 28 years of age,
and he's playing alongside the likes of one of the best ever in that position in Modric, for national team. It's. And he's like 38, 39. He's almost 10 years older than him.
I mean, Potter seems to like the partnership of Kovacic Enzo at the moment.
I don't know if that worked. I mean, I yesterday it looked a lot better than it did against Leeds. But yeah, Mendy. If he leaves at this point, I mean, fair play. He's well, not fair play. He's turned down offers from Chelsea to lengthen his career at the club, and he's not number one for us at the moment. I don't know where he thinks he's going to go after this, because he was already in poor form before, like really bad form as well, before his injury, and now it just seems like he hasn't been playing because of his contract talks.
We've got that wonder kid goalkeeper as well,
Slanina.
Yeah. He looks tasty.
Yeah, I mean, if he leaves, it's not going to cause any issues for us. We don't play him anyway. I think it's probably end of the season time for him to go. Ziyech goes without saying. Obviously, he's going at the end of the season. Chalobah, I'd be gutted, absolutely gutted if he left. You know, I think he's so underrated. I think he's a proper, you know, he always puts in 100% effort. Whenever he scores, he looks like he's going to cry because he's so overcome with emotion.
That's another thing.
He's scored a goal. He's proper Chelsea. He's another one.
And that's what I said. They have to be very careful, because Thiago Silva, he can't go on forever, can he?
No. I mean, he might not. That's the thing. He's out for another 6 weeks or so. He's turning 40 next year. That's another. He's mental. Our best player is a 40-year-old.
Well, and that's why I think that Chelsea are trying to go for that Garvadal player.
Yeah.
I think he will suit being in a back three. You know, with Wesley Fofana, Koulibaly started to play good all of a sudden. You know, so
Christian Pulisic.
He came on last night, and there was he went through and got it in the corner and got shoved off the ball like he weren't there.
Yeah. And could have made an earlier pass.
Yeah. And straight away I was like, there you go. Pulisic again, you know, no strength, you know, gets brushed off the ball easy all the time. Yeah, I think he will go, definitely.
He's just one player that has consistently got on my tits the whole time he's been at Chelsea, because, I mean, there were moments he scored a hat-trick. I think it was obviously like early on during, I think was it just before COVID? And, you know, he looked good. I think he got an injury, didn't he?
Yeah.
Which is typical for him, because he's another one made of glass, but he's another one I don't like his mentality or his sort of attitude. He seems very sort of woe is me and, you know, everyone's against me kind of thing whenever he's playing. Kai Havertz. Kai Havertz, I think, if Graham Potter's still here, he loves him so much, I don't see him leaving. I see that he still has a big part to play for us. Obviously, he will need to sort out what his best starting 11 is, because we've got players coming in the summer that we've already bought. But yeah, it depends how strongly he finishes the season for me. Yeah.
And we still got Hudson-Odoi. What are we going to do with him?
I don't think he started for the last like 4 games for Leverkusen or something like that. I saw. He's not.
You never know. That might be a player that Graham Potter likes.
Yeah.
On that right wing.
We'll see that one.
We'll see.
I don't know. He was one. It was like the world was like at his feet. Do you know what I mean? Like he was. He was the next big talent. And that Bayern. That ever since the Bayern sort of deal was happening, he's turned to shit. He really has.
And we said Mudryk hasn't been playing, but also actually Madueke hasn't been playing. So
I'm excited by him. I must say, like Mudryk as well, but Madueke, like I just think he's going to be.
And then we've got that.
If he's played properly, to his strengths, like Mudryk, again, these young players, again, I just think that's the thing. It's just mismanagement of players over the last few years, especially strikers, obviously, which has been the downfall. I don't know.
But I've just had a thought for next season. He's still, even when we trim the squad, he's still going to have difficulty. If we buy João Felix on a permanent. But then you got in Cuckoo coming in. Then you got Mudryk, you got Sterling, you got Madueke, and then you got a new striker. You got Havertz. There's going to be some problems there still.
Yeah, it's too many players. It's way too many
players. João Felix plays. I know he can play all across the front. But I think his best players when he's roaming free.
Yeah,
you know,
sort of like free roam, like Hazard would get, or even Joe Cole.
Exactly,
like that free role.
But then we've just bought in Cuckoo, so what are you going to do? Put him on the bench?
Yeah.
You know, it's gonna be a difficult one for Potter in the summer. I'm telling you, we've got that right back coming as well that we bought.
Oh, Malo Gusto.
Yeah.
It's weird. We got all these players coming that we just and Andre Santos as well. Whether or not that goes through, he's the big one. He's the big one that I'm. Well, we're all excited. That
maybe we don't need a centre midfield player then to buy one if we got him.
Final two things before we wrap up for the first episode. Predictions wise. Top 10 finish for Chelsea. Do you see it happening?
Yeah, top 10 finish. I pray to God that we don't qualify for the Conference League. I do not want us. It'd be a waste of time for us. I prefer us just to. What is it? What position do you have to get for Conference League again?
7th, I think.
Seventh.
Yeah. So it's top 4 Champions League, 5th and 6th get Europa League, and then 7th get Conference League. And you read my mind, honestly, because my next thing was, do you want to finish outside of Europe if we can't get UCL? Leading on a season without European football if we fail to win the Champions League as well. Obviously, if we win the Champions League, we'll have Champions League football next season. But I don't mind the Europa. I think we need a reset completely and just focus on the league for a change, like for once. We've been so spoilt with European football. Obviously, 2 Europa Leagues, 2 Champions Leagues over the last 20 years.
I think we've left it too late now. We've left it too late for Champions League now, especially now Liverpool have hit form. You know, they're right back in the Champions League mix now. You know, you got Tottenham there as well, so. I think you can't say never. You can never say never. But the Europa League, if we go on some run, Europa League, I don't want to be in it, but if we're in it, we're in it.
We've won it both times we've been in it. It's what's the point of this? What we've got to prove in that. The only thing people keep saying, if we do play in the Conference League, that we'll be the first club to have won every single European title.
Yeah, I can imagine.
So that's the only silver lining. But if we go into it and we don't win it, then it's embarrassing.
Mate, in all honesty, I'm nervous for the weekend. Because if we go and win back-to-back games, especially that big one last night, and then we go away to Leicester, and Leicester outplay us, and beat us, then it's going to be back to me being frustrated with Potter again.
It'll make for some entertaining moments in future podcasts. But Daley. Pleasure for the first episode. I thought it went well.
Yeah, it went well. Yeah. Good. And it will only get better.
Absolutely. Well, I mean, like I say, good times, bad times. You know, we'll try and keep this podcast going. I think we're going for once every fortnight. So once every 2 weeks we'll come out, upload every single Thursday. Well, every
and we had a good day today because we had a good result yesterday. So we're on a bit more happier vibes. I wouldn't want to see us on the podcast when we're in an angry state.
No, well, we'll have to wait and see, won't we? Anyway, socials for myself and Daley, of course, in the description. Be sure to like, subscribe, hit the bell notification to be notified of any future content on the channel. With that said, Daley, all the best, mate.
All the best. Up the Chelsea.
Up the Chelsea.